Red Sea resort of Hurghada in Egypt for round 3 of the high-tech Super Series. A superb location for a superb new stop on the tour. Players enjoying some great local hospitality, and the squash-mad Egyptian audiences have in return enjoyed some great matches already. This was how the quarter-finals panned out. Simon Park going through against Castellane to meet Peter Nicol, and Jonathon Power going through fairly easily to line up against Paul Johnson from England. So 2 great semi-finals in prospect, and everyone ready for an Egyptian showdown. And the first part of that showdown was the semi-final between Simon Park and Peter Nicol. A regular event now, the meeting of these two, and Park still to get the better of Nicol. It was a close one in game 1, but eventually Nicol edged it 15-13. Fairly straightforward in game 2 at 15-6, and Park looking for a recovery and pressing Nicol all the way in game 3. Simon Park ranked at world number 4, now pressing the top 3 more regularly. But again in game 3, this one looked to be edging away, and Peter Nicol looking calmly in charge, and plenty of time to play the shots he wanted. And at match ball, Park with one last desperate attempt. But Nicol playing him into the wrong position. He gets the stroke, and he was through to the final. So the Egyptian fans very happy with that. And the question now, who would meet him? Jonathon Power, world number 2, or Paul Johnson, world number 7?
Paul Johnson!
Johnson, who charged into the top 10 last year and then plateaued, is now back on his best form for 6 months, and he could be a real threat. And despite the number of games, he's feeling rested.
Before I went into the match yesterday, I didn't feel as though I'd actually played any matches at all, which is very unusual going into the quarter-final stage. I think anybody who gets to a semi-final of a tournament like this and says that they're not feeling slightly jaded or tired, you know, it's probably lying. I don't think you ever go onto the court at this stage of a tournament feeling 100%. So, you know, it's all about trying to recover as much as you possibly can in the time given, and just preparing, you know, for each match as it comes. John is so unpredictable, and I would say he's probably one of the most talented players on the circuit at the moment. So he's very different in the way he plays. There are weaknesses in his game, but it's very hard to try and expose those. You need to, I mean, Peter Nicol seems to get the better of him, I think, because basically he's a lot fitter and stronger than Jonathon. So I think that could be an area where you may have to sort of try and attack and try and keep the game going as long as you can, and not letting Jonathon get in front and dominating the game.
He came into this millennium as the world's number 1. Please welcome the man himself. A little attitude, but what a player, Jonathon Power! I said I got it going on, baby girl, and I'm
Power certainly the man with attitude and undoubted talent when he's up for it, but he's very relaxed here, and he's adapted well to the court conditions.
The court is quite slow. It means the ball doesn't bounce up as much. It really stays short in the front of the court when you play it there, which means you got to go in farther to get the ball, which means you have to come farther back when you're coming out of the front corner, which sort of it suits a player who has more attacking type shots and really likes to dominate the play at the front of the court. That generally is how I like to play, sort of attacking everything, finishing everything as quickly as I can, because I don't like to stay out there too long. Fitness isn't the best. Well, I'm looking to take the ball a lot on the volley and not give too many openings where he can move me around. I'm not going to give too many cross courts on his racket. I'm going to keep the balls along the walls and use as much deception as I can, faking him short, sending him deep, faking him deep, sending him short type thing, and sort of that's my game, and I just stick to my game plan, and if I'm playing well, then it usually is a positive thing.
Time to find out how it went as we pick up on the match commentary of Robert Edwards and former world number 2 Chris Robertson.
So here we have the man seeded one in the all black, the distinctive Jonathon Power, the British Open champion, and Mr. Magic with that racket, and his opponent, one of the tough guys on the circuit, Paul Johnson, or PJ, the English player who is here with a group of support personnel working with him, coaches, dietitians, goodness knows what. And it must be said, he is going to need all the support he can against this man, because when Jonathon Power's mercurial, he is very special, Robbo.
Well, I just wondered if they've got a faith healer or a spiritual healer, because at the moment, it's all John Power. Paul Johnson has not got a great track record against him, Robert, so it's difficult to see him coming back in this particular first game.
Yes, it's been all Jonathon Power, and he's dominating this.
Level. Yes, lad.
Probably has the worst possible game for Paul Johnson to have to try and control.
Well, here Paul, big stretch volley. Didn't really want to get out of the way. I think it's fair to mention as well, Paul had a very big 5-setter in his previous round against a very talented French player, Terry Linku. He may be feeling the effects from that, possibly.
14-6 game ball.
Well, whatever. Jonathon Power looks like a Rolls Royce. Sure, he's 14-6, and he's standing on game ball, and there's been little or no opposition to his drive to this final place in this second semi-final. Has the answer to everything, and PJ is having an uncomfortable day in the office. But he's a true pro, Paul Johnson, and he'll be thinking, trying new things, I'm sure.
You asking for a lit? Stroke. Johnson.
Well, here we see the situation. Paul stopping for the let, given a stroke. Looks a little bit harsh to me. Big effort there from the Canadian to get out of the way.
And back he comes, Mr. Magic. Jonathon Power.
And out 7-14.
Very charismatic man. And given the opportunity, having changed his racket by his opponent to just have a few hits to feel the tension on the strings. And they're ready to go again, but it stands still. Paul Johnson serving 7-14, and it's game ball against him. And I think the domination of John Power has really silenced the audience tonight. And it's not as if he's playing somebody lowly in the rankings. Paul Johnson is a class act, a top player. Consistently top 5 these days.
And there's the reason why. Not enough of those type of rallies from Paul, but beautiful hit length there on the backhand side, and then finished it off with a lovely open face on the forehand volley.
But it still stays game ball to Jonathon Power. And the Canadian has cruised to this position, having dropped only one game, and that was to Amar Shabana in the first round. Other than that, he's dominated all of his matches with consummate ease.
Level. Yes, lad. There's obstruction there, Paul.
Well, I know, but do you think I'm going through to every ball without obstruction? Both ways, Glenn.
Well, a little chat
8-14
between the
game ball.
New Zealand referee and PJ, but it stays let ball, And it still stays game ball. And I think he's got a huge mountain to climb. I can hardly see him coming back from this, but if he can just get his game going so that he can go into the second game with a little bit more confidence, Robbo.
Wow, that's the whole point, isn't it, Robert? Here,
game ball.
good call there from John, honest call there, saying he carried the ball. Paul is unlikely to win this first game, even though he's making a good effort of coming back. He needs to get his game together. He needs to show John
game ball.
that it's only one game gone, and he's going to be here for the rest of the match.
He's almost left it too late, but he's getting something together now. He's getting it to flow a bit more.
Wow, he's getting in front of John Power, Robert. He's getting good opportunities to play shots. As previously, he's been dominated from the middle of the court. And like you said, by John's racket control and trickery.
And he's brought it back to 11-14, and the crowd are rising to him.
Wow, it's another fantastic rally. Good domination around the middle, good powerful hitting. Nice turn of the cross court there, and that was a little bit too good for him.
And these are the rallies he wants to remember, even if he loses this game, to take into the next. But it stays still game ball to Jonathon Power, British Open champion. And really one of the top two big players in the world, him and Peter Nicol. And that stroke gives him the first game, 15-11.
Well, Power taking the game comfortably in the end, but certainly the pressure seeming to tell. So while he calms down, stand by for our viewers' competition, a chance to win one of a pair of pro squash shoes coming up after the break. Welcome back to the PSA Masters here in Hurghada for the second semi-final. And the pressure and pace telling on the face of Paul Johnson after now losing the second game to Jonathon Power, the Canadian. Jonathon Power looking fairly relaxed and maybe already thinking about that final spot. Paul Johnson needing to pull something out of the bag as we rejoin the match commentary of Robert Edwards and Chris Robertson.
So the third game starts, and it starts with Jonathon Power taking this point, and the story has to be, Robbo, domination of Jonathon Power right the way through.
Well, it's clear to see by the scoreline in the second game how comprehensive it's been, and at this particular stage he's just doing everything a little bit too quickly for Paul Johnson. He's making him move too quickly, decide too quickly, and he's forcing errors just like that.
Now he could back out.
Well, that's the voice of Glenn Wilson, ex-tour player himself from New Zealand. And PJ is arguing that he did have room to swing. The referee did not agree.
It was a clear call, Robert. I think the interesting blend between these two players that Paul Johnson's very rhythmical. He likes a little bit of time. He likes consistency and control in his game. John Power just gets him moving a little bit too quickly. He has to adjust his swing, which at times can be a little bit big.
Well, the first point to PJ, but as you say, Jonathon Power is the sort of player, if you let him, he will dominate and has the game to do so. His delay, his all-round game is really very special. Oh, now nothing wrong with that, but a few words from player to player.
It looked good from here, Jonathan.
That's on his sweat, you see there on Paul Johnson's shirt. Done a lot of work, and it's a warm night tonight. Jonathan's complaint that the ball was down, not held.
I don't like to see that either, Robert. I don't think Jonathon Power should be questioning Paul Johnson. Paul Johnson's very honest. If he thinks the ball's down, he will call it himself. And
well, they're both players looking at the referee here. Yeah, the decision, player let. And still Jonathon having a little chip.
Yeah, it's not a nice part of a match between two players, particularly if they have to socialise or be together quite a bit, and I think that's what the referee's there for, Robert, to call balls up and down.
Yeah, let the man do the job. And they've got a good referee here. This guy knows the game. He knows the speed. He's played at a very high level himself.
And again, you see Paul Johnson trying to grab a little bit of time up and down the walls, grab some consistency control, but it's just not happening there at the moment with his drive balls. He's struggling to get the ball past Jonathon Power with any type of consistency.
And Jonathon just makes the game look so easy. And I see
5-2.
the signs of sheer frustration on Paul Johnson's face.
Well, again, I revert back to his big quarter-final match with Terry Linku.
Yep.
You have to sort of wonder physically how he's feeling, even mentally after a big hard 5-setter.
Yes, Thierry is one of the shooting stars of this game, French #1. And he is one of the great fitness players on the circuit, as is PJ. So, as you quite rightly say, it was a hard match, and what it's left in his legs, you don't know. But this match now fairly splintered, and Jonathon taking up all the points.
Well, here the ball so tight, clinged in, just clipped the outside line, and everything's going against the Englishman at the moment. But he is a fighter, you are right. He has a tremendous ability to hang in there and keep competing.
Well,
I'm going to give you a lit there, Jonathon.
Jonathan's complaining that his racket made contact with PJ on the backswing.
Here we see the rally again. He's saying he caught him
Yes, that's 6-3.
on the swing.
Ball good.
He's got about 12 different things he's asking the referee at the moment.
Well, there's Glenn Wilson. Obviously having to concentrate on this because there's a lot of discussion from both players. Mainly, I would add, from Jonathon. Amazing when he's dominating so well that his mind is wandering all over the place. Always reminds me of the genius of John McEnroe. They set themselves very high standards, players of this quality.
And again, another error there from Paul.
Stroke to par.
Clearly his stroke ball there, and he's frustrated not with the referee but with himself. Here, not that
7-3.
difficult a shot, and he came across the side of the ball there and brought it back towards himself for the stroke.
And the #1 seed is cruising now towards a finals place where if he gets there, he will be playing his old rival Peter Nicol.
8-3.
And it's 8-3 and he's 2-love up.
Another easy mistake there from Paul. And that's a tired movement there, that replay show, Rob.
Yes, maybe Thierry Lanco has taken a lot out of PJ, and what a player to have to come up against straight afterwards. It's not just one match. To win these tournaments, you have to play so many tough matches one after the other with just 24 hours to repair your body.
The problem he's got here, Rob, he's got John Power never hitting 2 balls in a row down the same wall, twisting and turning him all the time, and it's just taking its toll.
And that's match ball to Jonathon Power to set up another big final with him and Peter Nicol. And the two dominant players in the world look like they're going to meet again for this new title. PSA Masters champion in Hurghada. And that ball is dead. They shake hands, and Jonathon Power is into the final.
Well, these two rallies showed what Jonathon Power did to Paul Johnson throughout the match. Never hit 2 balls in a row in the same spot. Continually kept Paul guessing, moving fast, making adjustments, which he doesn't tend to like. Again, good twist there, moved him deep on the backhand side, took him up the front, keeps moving him around, and he just forces the error from the Englishman. The next rally, see much the same thing on match ball. Jonathon always seems like he's got the answers, takes the ball in from the back. Paul gets an early volley on, but he still can't get the domination. John takes him forward again, and then quickly whips it across.
Got off to a fairly poor start. Jonathon dictated the match all the way through. He never at any stage allowed me to get in front and impose my game on him. And, you know, when he's playing like that, I really can't see anybody beating him. He was sharp today.
Yeah, it started off well. I got a good lead in the first game and felt like I was playing well. Busted a set of strings there and sort of went into a bit of a panic. Lost the sort of last 6 points of that game and sort of snuck out the first game. After that, I found my comfort zone again and just relaxed out there, and it was good.
So the finalists decided, time for us just to take a break and look into some of the training techniques of these top pros.
Hi, my name's Billy Hedrell. I'm a PSA touring professional. I have an exercise that I like to do. There's 2 other people in the world that can do it. I think I'm the best, so let's see how I go.
But after all the preparation and all the training, it comes down to the crunch. And this will be such a match, and the local fans know it. Nicol on top form has been cruising so far, and he knows this final with power could be a turning point in the season.
Oh, it's huge. Jonathon and I are 1 and 2 in the world, and I think the last points gap was 1 point. So, I mean, it could mean the difference between those 2 rankings. So for me, not only winning the PSA Masters tournament, but could decide the rankings for the next few months. Jonathon, although he's very, very clever at the front and has an amazing amount of shots, still has a very good basic game. His length, he takes the ball early, he puts you in the back corners before he starts to play the ball short and flicking it in those deceptive shots. So, I mean, people don't give him credit for that. People just think he's this amazing shot player, but he's got a lot more to it than that. But saying that, the most impressive part of his game is when he gets in front of you, because then he can cause you a lot of problems. He doesn't seem to let you off the hook either, so if he's got you doing diagonals or got you behind him, he keeps you there. So the biggest thing is to get in front of him and stay in front of him.
He's our number 1 seed. He's the man with attitude. His name, Jonathon Power!
I said I got it going on, baby doll, and I'm on fire. Took her to the hotel. She said, you're the king, so be my queen if you know what I mean. And let's do the wild.
The mercurial Jonathon Power leads the score in showdowns with Nicol, but he's had an erratic start to the season, has never fared well in Egypt, and for him too, it's an important game.
It's a pretty big game. I mean, it's the last tournament of the spring here before we get into the summer season, and I think it'd be a good, it's always a good battle. I think it's going to be a good match. Peter likes to contain the opponent and doesn't leave the guy with too many openings. In my game is I try to open the game up and try to take the game to the opponent. It's rather than shutting him down, I try to take my game to him. So we have 2 completely contrasting styles. In the last 12 months, we've played 4 times, and we've both won twice. And so this will be maybe, yeah, the deciding match, the 5th game, so to say.
So before the big one, your chance to win a pair of high-tech Adrenaline Pro squash shoes by answering this question. Name the famous squash player recently attacked and stabbed. Jonathon Power, Peter Nicol, Ahmed Baradi, your choice of answers. Send your choice by mail to the High-Tech Super Series competition, PSA 82 Cathedral Road, Cardiff in the UK, or enter via the website Super Series Co UK. Welcome back to Hurghada here in Egypt for the final showdown of the PSA Masters.
The referee will not accept verbal abuse. Do you understand? Shake hands and let's play squash.
And the tension's high and the atmosphere built up. Just time for Robert Edwards to now take up commentary position, along with former world number 2, Chris Robertson.
It's probably fitting that the 2 best players on the planet today should compete for this final of this first of the Hurghada PSA Masters. high-tech
No
Super
let.
Series
No let.
events here in the beautiful Hurghada resort
no let.
on the Red Sea. And immediately
One
Jonathon Power deciding to have a quick chat with the referee, as is his style. But from this man, Peter Nicol in the white kit, I think we'll have very little by way of histrionics. He'll want to get this match going, and he's going to want to find out how much gas Power has got in the tank. Fair synopsis, Robbo?
Well, I certainly think that's going to be both players' tactics early on. Power to look for domination and Peter to look for the physical side of things. But it was a very impressive start there from Peter Nicol. Return of serve from Jonathon Power. He tried to catch him out with a quick short volley. Peter jumped on it and pushed a straight drop in. So if that's anything to go by, Jonathon Power's in a bit of trouble.
1-all.
So 1-all. Absolutely massive audience. People were in their seats something like an hour before this match started, being entertained by the local music, dancing, razzmatazz, rock and roll. But now, what they've come to see, the final. And it's been a great tournament and a wonderful venue. Typical Egyptian hospitality. The players have had a great time here, and they've rewarded him with some wonderful squash. And let's see if this could live up to its name, because these two players, as the 1 and 2 in the world, oh my goodness me.
Yes, let. Yes, let. 1-all.
Yes, Jonathon, who's
Ball
in
is
the
still
past
too high.
suffered
Great.
some bad injuries on court.
Yeah, you know. That's let.
Well, let's look at this again, Robbo.
Well, you can clearly see there, Robert, Jonathon slipped over before he hit Peter. I think that's what Peter's saying. He wouldn't have got the ball even if it was above the cut line.
It wasn't body contact that caused the slip. It was purely the player falling himself. But it stays 1-all, first game. And it's a warm night here tonight.
Now you can see from Peter's tactics as well, Robert, that he's gone out fast. He's going to try and keep the tempo up. He's going to take Jonathon on at the speed of the game. And just like Jonathon does to a lot of other players, he makes them move fast and makes life difficult for him. I think Peter's going to try that tactic with the Canadian here.
2-1.
The talk in the camp amongst the other professionals is how much damage Peter Nicol did to Jonathon Power mentally when he beat him in the last tournament, the Nivea Irish Open. And he dominated that, winning it 3-love. And they say, can Jonathon come back so quickly and reassert himself against Peter Nicol? Time will tell. Head-to-head, these two guys, it's, I think, 10-8 now overall to Jonathon Power. And Peter Nicol would like to put that right, at least reduce it to 9-10 after tonight. The weather conditions, fairly humid, but there is a bit of a breeze in the air coming in off the sea. And the players will be pleased with that. Building up to a good rally now.
Well, certainly both players taking the ball very early.
Down.
And good use of the cross-court deception there from Peter. Drew the mistake from the Canadian.
And out. 2-all.
Here we see it. Peter looking for the straight ball and quick turn across. Nice shot.
And out. 9-all.
And the tournament tonight graced with the arrival of two very special VIPs. We have Mr. Ibrahim Nafir, Chairman of Al-Hram, and the General Governor of the Red Sea, General Aburrida, with us. So nice to have these very important people coming to join in and so enthusiastic about the game of squash in Egypt. It had been hoped today that we would have the First Lady, President Mubarak's wife, here, but it just was not to be.
Jonathon Power now, Robert, trying to hold the ball quite a bit from the back of the court. He's tried to break Peter down by the physical pace of the game. That's not quite working at the moment, so he's looked for the little bit of extra from the back of the court. Both players are really responding well to each other.
You get the feeling that the next 3-4 years are going to be dominated by these two men. unless somebody comes out of the pack. I think of Barada possibly, or Simon Park, or one of the new youngsters coming on. But at the moment, these two men are the men.
And out. 10-9.
And 10-9 now to Jonathon Power.
Wow, what a fitting end to the rally. Nice flick cross court from deep. It's always a good confidence booster to hit a winning shot past your opponent. You don't get many balls past Peter Nicol either.
That's for sure. And Peter Nicol, it's pretty well common knowledge. He likes to make the first game very, very tough, especially against Jonathon. He likes to make Jonathon ask questions of himself. And this game has certainly been very tight.
You see a tactic there that Peter's used a lot this particular week and in recent months. Somebody drops him quickly in the front, what we call as right-handers front backhand corner, but Peter's front forehand. He just pushes that little forehand drop in, just takes that person back up there. And again, we saw it again, but he made a mistake.
The counter drop so effective.
11-10.
And it's 11-10, Jonathon Power having a little chat with Peter. I think he's basically saying, give me the ball. Well, he's got it. The match continues, and it's, at this moment, a very pleasant game to be a spectator at.
Well, the pace is the impressive thing, Robert. They're both really getting on the ball as early as they can. Oh, and that's a fantastic forehand drive. Made it look like he was going to go cross court and
12-10.
straighten it down the line.
Now, Peter Nicol, at a stage like this, you can almost hear him saying to himself, I'm going to put the brakes on this guy. I'm 2 points down. It's nearing the end of the first. If he's going to go through, it's going to be after some huge rallies. Now, let's see what happens. Tremendous patience from Peter Nicol. Jonathon Power always looking to attack. The shark in the man.
Again, good use of the lob there from Peter.
Top.
And it forced the error. That ball net making front wall, and 1 point back to Peter Nicol, back to 11-12. You almost sense there is going to be no errors from Peter Nicol. His opponent's going to have to win the point.
Well, like you said, Robert, he did play a very solid rally at 10-12 down. Kept the pressure on, played the right shots at the right time, and drew the mistake. If you keep doing that time after time after time, you ask a lot of questions of your opponents.
And Peter Nicol, we know, is in great condition. Oh, that ball just too tight, and Jonathon Power now back to a 2-point buffer, 13-11.
Well, we see a nice hold and block here. Just enough contact there to force Peter to have a go for it. They're able to get a let.
Jonathon playing that straight ball again, but this time his opponent gives it back with interest and comes back 12-13.
12-13.
Magical audience, magical night, wonderful setting, and two great players on court. What more could you ask for?
Down.
Frustration from Jonathon. The quality of the racket tested there on the floor.
Well, he thought he had an opportunity here, but it only counts if you hit it up. And again, Peter Nicol has brought himself back to level just when he needed to.
He does it all the time though, Robbo. It's not luck. It happens too often. The man seems to have the ability to put the brakes on people.
And the nice thing as well, Robert, he's actually moving the ball around quite a bit as well. He's not just hitting the ball deep.
And Jonathon lashes out at some imaginary object there, but he's now game ball down.
Well, he's just pushed the shot, Robert. I mean, 13-all. It's a great shot if you hit it up. Not so good if you hit it down.
Now, can Peter Nicol do it at the first time of bouncing? Yes, he can. That ball's out. And it's Peter Nicol off the court. And he's 1 game to love up in this final.
Well, at 13-11 down in the first game, you can always rely on Peter Nicol to play very, very good rallies. Here, he's up against it a little bit, on it early, good straight option. That gets him back to 12-13. Again, he's playing good solid squash, asking lots of questions. He's able to dominate the tee. His opponent gets an opportunity, can't take it. It's now 13-all. Again, Peter Nicol puts another good rally in. He's giving nothing away, there's no errors. And finally, the pressure tells on John Power, and he makes a bad decision.
So as Peter Nicol takes a break after making that charge at just the right time, let's remind you about our viewers competition, your chance to win a pair of pro squash shoes. Entry details after the break. We're here in the superb setting of Hurghada, but one person not enjoying the view is Jonathon Power, the Canadian, who's just lost game 2. And it wasn't a pretty match, as we now look back at a couple of the incidents.
So Peter, 8-6 up now in this second game of the final, leading by 1 game to love. Peter Nicol in the white shirt, Jonathon Power all black. And 2 points can go very quickly, especially when you have the skills and the wizardry of Jonathon Power. But Peter Nicol is in the driving seat at the moment. Seems to have the answer to everything.
Oh, it's a wonderful cross court there. He did turn Jonathon a lot.
Oh,
No let.
2 players. Little
No
clash
let.
there.
He went the wrong way there.
Well, Jonathon testing
going
the
to
strength
drop
of his
shot. No
racket
let.
against that back wall.
Can you carry on, please, and close the door?
Oh, that's closed.
Contact warning for abusing the court.
Well, he's
Choose
right
me,
there. He
carry
did tell
on,
him to
and
close the
keep
door. I
quiet.
don't think he meant with quite that velocity.
9-6.
Well, here you can see the incident that's raising quite a bit of dialogue. Here, John goes forward looking for the short ball. The ball goes cross court, and he's
Quiet,
created his
please.
own interference there. And that's no let in my book. Not that I'm the referee or anything.
Well, whatever. It's 9-6, Peter Nicol. Oh, my goodness. And another clash, and Peter Nicol, I think it was an elbow in the face.
Okay. Stroke to Nicol.
Now, this is interesting.
Stroke to
Oh,
Nicol.
Jonathon racket down again, and the stroke has been given to Peter Nicol.
Well, I agree with the last call. Big contact here, but the ball's too far away. Surely just a let.
And Peter Nicol it was who held on to the concentration to take advantage of the upset, winning that game 15-7. Now looking to retain the upper hand as we rejoin the match commentary of Robert Edwards and Chris Robertson.
Peter Nicol now having won the first 2 games in this final, and in their previous encounter, 3-love as well, run on the bounce 5 games against Jonathon Power. And I'm wondering what that's doing to Jonathon's head, Robbo.
Well, his head didn't look too stable last game, Robert. Certainly did lose the plot. And he has been chasing this match, I think, Jonathon Power. I know he was 13-11 up in the first game.
Not an unbelievable boast, just too tight.
But he has been chasing it, in my view. He's been hanging in there, and Peter has looked the more likely to succeed. And really, that's a situation that hasn't been happening continually against these 2 players, and it's up to John Power to respond. I'm not quite sure he's got the physical presence to do that from 2-love down, but we'll have to see.
Yes, let. Yes, let.
I think Peter had already accepted that was going to be a stroke, but Jonathon had moved slightly right, so didn't take advantage of it. It stays 1-love. And the interesting point here is certainly all of us are going to take away wonderful memories of the hospitality and the beauty of Hurghada, but which of these men is going to take away the magnificent trophy? And it's still not decided. That trickle post down. Jonathon dismayed, he could hardly believe it.
Well, that's slightly desperate, I would think, Robert. I know it's a bit early to call that at 1-all, but That's really struck me as somebody who's trying to win the points very, very quickly. You just can't do that against this guy. You have to really build the opening. Can't afford to be making too many mistakes against Peter Nicol because you can't get that many winners back off him.
Yes, you're right. Is the boxing analogy, you know you've got to go 15 rounds to beat this guy. Rarely does he get knocked out.
2-1.
Rarely does anybody drive over the top of him.
I think that what's also changed in the recent months with Peter Nicol is he's able to get free winners himself now. He is a lot more confident with his short game, his ability to put the ball in, the finer elements of the game, as people might want to refer them to as. So consequently, you've got to cut your errors down. And I don't think John Power's quite adjusted to that new Peter Nicol philosophy.
Yes, and after this, Peter Nicol, this is the little break in the circuit after this, and he will have a timeout from tournament squash. He's going to be doing a series of clinics in America, and then back to working hard, ready for the next series of tournaments. 2-all in this third game, and Jonathon has to find something. Peter Nicol slots that one with his forehand into the left-hand neck, and he seems to be looking stronger and stronger, and it's all mental at this stage.
Well, I do think the most disappointing thing, I think, for John Power is that he actually hasn't hit a good solid length for the last portion of this match, Robert. He's really been struggling to get the ball behind Peter consistently. He's allowed Peter to get on the ball very early. And it's creating a lot of physical problems for John. He does look under a lot of pressure, more pressure than he's been under for quite a long time, I imagine.
And the body language there didn't speak strongly for Jonathon.
4-2.
Stop playing.
Well, you are right. He wasn't interested at all in chasing that ball, good or bad. And I tell you, that certainly gives Peter Nicol a lot of strength. And whoa.
3-ball post finds the neck.
A little apology, I think, with his eyes there from Peter Nicol. Didn't mean to put this rolling out, but look at that. Not a lot of distance between the ball and floor there.
Down.
And a 10. That gives Peter Nicol 6-2 in this third game.
6-2. 12-5.
At 12-5, your money has to be on Peter Nicol taking this title. He's just 3 points away.
And it has to be said, Robert, it's been a very disappointing response from John Power from 13-11 up in the first game. He lost the first 15-13.
6-12.
And he did lose it. He made some mistakes under pressure from Peter Nicol. But his response since then has been quite disappointing.
Down.
And the way that he's handled
And out. 13-6.
the break in the second game and the break in the third game from Peter Nicol hasn't really shown us the qualities that he does possess. He's given up the ghost here, and that's never a great thing to see.
Well, Jonathon Power has to leave here, go away and resurrect his game. He is a brilliant player, but he is the loser here. Peter Nicol, the first Hurghada PSA Masters champion.
Well, Peter Nicol's moved on with his game in recent times, and on the forehand we have 3 examples of him clinically finishing the play against John Power. Here, mid-court on the forehand, puts that one in the nick. Jonathon puts him deep, he opens the face up. Look at this for a 3-ball boast nick. And then on match ball, confidence is high. He's shown him the corners, he's put balls away. He knows he's going to win this title. He lets it roll off the back wall, he opens it up. And it's good night, nurse.
A delighted Peter Nicol waves to the crowd, moves to his corner, and there to greet him is Father Pat, equally as happy.
It was a big struggle. It was a crucial game because Jonathon gets so confident if he manages to win the first, he'd come out the second and just be buoyed with that first game win. So I knew I had to win that to to really shut them out, and did it. And then the second was tough for the first 5-6 points, and then after that I managed to run away with it. Jonathan's head went down, got a bit frustrated.
I just made some bad mistakes. I dominated the first game. I had him pretty tired. I was working him, I thought, more than he was working me, and then I just let it slip away. Made 5 mistakes right at the end of the game, and got some decisions, and sort of lost my head, lost my way.
But I didn't really need to win that to prove to myself I was one in the world, to keep the ranking all summer, and just to have generally, I feel very content now from having a fantastic event. Last 3 events have been wonderful, and like you said, I can go into the summer, good training, another 2-3 months of hard work, and come out next season playing even better, which I think I can.
An important victory then for Nicol, and that adds to his points in the high-tech Super Series rankings so far for this year. The top 8, remember, qualifying at the end of the season for a Super Series finals shootout, the best of the best. We look forward to that, and we look forward to someone winning the 6 pairs of pro squash shoes we've got up for grabs in our viewers competition. Simply answer the question, name the famous player who recently was attacked and stabbed. Choose between Power, Nicol and Hurghada. First 6 out of the bag after the closing date win. Send your entries to the high-tech Super Series competition, PSA 82 Cathedral Road, Cardiff in the UK, or enter via the website Super Series Co UK.